जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So you can feel the vastness of Himalayas here. We are very fortunate to be in this place, this part of the mountains of the Himalayas. This is known as the Gandhamadan mountain ranges. We just crossed the last village in the Indian territory called the Mana village. A little bit ahead, they have publicized the last tea shop of the Indian territory. So sometimes very ritualistic people also have tea. आखिरी चाय की दुकान है पीने. But we are not going to do that. It is explained in the Mahabharata that after the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Pandavas ruled the earth for 36 years. After the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Dhritarashtra was so afflicted with pain in his heart of losing his 100 sons that he decided to leave the kingdom and retire to the forest for solitary meditation. This was under the, please excuse my voice, it's getting better. This was under the instigation of Vidur. Vidur, after the battlefield of before the Kurukshetra war, Vidur had told Dhritarashtra that take a firm decision and throw away your son from this palace, from this kingdom itself, and declare Yudhishthira as the king. But out of parental affection, Dhritarashtra could not do so. Later, he had to see the death of his 100 sons. It is so difficult to have one child. Imagine 100 children dying one after another. So after that, Vidur again came back. It is explained in the Bhagavatam that Vidur went to the north. Whenever you hear in the scriptures that somebody travelled to the north, means it is Himalayas. So Balram and Vidur did not participate in the Kurukshetra war. Both of them came to Himalayas. And after the war got over, both came back. Vidur came back for the only reason is to once more tell Dhritarashtra that your time is up now. And Vidur very bitterly, he speaks some bitter words to Dhritarashtra. He says, you are a person of no shame. Your entire life you are trying to kill these people, these Pandavas. Now they have killed your children. They were always righteous. Eventually they have killed all of your sons. And you, being such a shameful person, shameless person, you are still staying in the kingdom and eating the food given by the Pandavas? Can't you still not understand? At least at this point of time, understand the purpose of life. If you have little bit of sanity left in you, retire to the forest and meditate on that supreme truth who resides in the heart of everyone. He will relieve you of all affliction which you have gone through your entire life. You are already blind by birth, but by not taking to higher causes, you are becoming, you are now blind by your intellect and also by your ego. So hearing these bitter, painful words by Vidur, that those were like the words of a guru. Om Ajjan Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. His ignorance was dispelled by the words of Vidur. And Dhritarashtra immediately decides to give up the kingdom. So Dhritarashtra, he immediately removed all his kingly robes and decided to retire. Gandhari, she also decided to follow. Seeing both of them, Kunti also decided to go in the forest. So three of them went. There are different versions in this story, but I am just going to tell you one version. So Kunti left along with Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. So it is explained how they were with some sages doing some tapasya and penances, and it is explained that Dhritarashtra had stopped eating everything. He was only surviving on air. Gandhari, she was surviving only by drinking water. And Kunti, she was eating little bit of some food once a month. It is explained when the three of them were going, Sanjay, who had spoken the entire Mahabharat war, who had dictated, who had narrated the entire Mahabharat war to Dhritarashtra, he also followed the king. So all the four, so Sanjay would eat every 6 days, Gandhari, Kunti would eat once a month, Gandhari was surviving only on water and Dhritarashtra only on air. It is explained at one point of time, their bodies were so weak that they could barely walk, and Dhritarashtra decided to take bath in the Ganges. So they had actually gone to the Ganga Dwar. Ganga Dwar is what we probably now is called as Gangotri. So that is where they had gone, that area. Below that. Haridwar, little bit in that area. So there, suddenly the whole forest lit up with fire. And there were so many sages and ascetics who were also performing penances and tapasya. And they saw that when the forest was burning with fire, Dhritarashtra could not move. He was already so weak and pale because of not eating anything. Gandhari, she also was so weak. Kunti was also so weak. So Sanjay told Dhritarashtra that the whole forest is on fire, you please run. Dhritarashtra said, I cannot move, I barely have any strength. So better you run away and you save your life. So Sanjay accepted that instruction of the king and he left. It is explained that all the three people, Dhritarashtra got burnt, and in that fire Gandhari also participated, she got burnt, and Kunti also got burnt. Later, Narad Muni came to Kurukshetra, Hastinapur, and he informed Yudhishthira that the 3 members of your family are gone. So hearing this, Yudhishthira is so sad, he is afflicted with great pain. He is feeling that although Dhritarashtra treated them very badly, he feels that this person, the royal king of Hastinapur, he was fanned by beautiful women all this time. Now his body is being fanned by the air which is coming from the wings of the vultures who are waiting to eat up his half-burnt body. Thinking that ghastly scene, Yudhishthira becomes so painful. And then when he hears that Kunti has also departed, Yudhishthira speaks that I am not as much aggrieved with pain by the departure of Dhritarashtra and Gandhari because they had already lost their 100 sons. Can you all hear? Can you understand, sorry, because of my voice? Please excuse me. So he said, I am not as much aggrieved with the pain of Dhritarashtra and Gandhari because they had already lost their 100 sons. And there was nothing else left in their lives. But Pritha means another name of Kunti. My mother, her entire life she had suffered. And now she got burnt in the blazing fire when her children are in the blazing success. It was the time for her at least to enjoy few years, be happy in the kingdom. But even that was not left for this poor woman. And Yudhishthira starts weeping like a child. Seeing him, Bhim starts crying, Arjun starts crying, Nakul starts crying, Sahadev starts crying. And the news spreads in the whole palace that Kunti has died. And hearing the crying of these 5 big warriors, none of them could hold their tears and they are all breaking down. And Yudhishthira is imagining, she is saying, my mother would have first called for me, screaming for help. But when she would have not found me coming, she would have cried for Bhim. Then she would have cried for Arjun, for Nakul, for Sahadev, and none of us would be there to help her. Thinking that, he felt even more pain. And then he starts criticizing himself. He says, fie on my kingdom that I was not there to save my mother. Fie on this royalty. And he says that we, Pandavas, Arjun had favored Agnidev, and that Agnidev consumed my mother. What a kind of cheating Agnidev has done. He criticizes Agnidev also. And then he says, it is very inauspicious to die in an unsanctified fire. You know, accidental fires are unsanctified because you don't want them and they are lit up. It was not like a yajna. So Narad Muni corrects Yudhishthira. He says, my dear Yudhishthira, please don't blame the fire. It was not unsanctified. The truth is that Dhritarashtra had matured in his meditation and he had decided. So by the power of his mysticism, he ignited that entire place with fire. And there was an option for others to go, but they did not go. So Dhritarashtra himself had lit up that fire to get burned. Gandhari participated and willingly also Kunti participated. And he says that that fire was a fire of meditation. So it was not unsanctified and they will attain a great destination. So Yudhishthira is a little bit pacified. It is explained that Yudhishthira, after some time in Hastinapur, he sent Arjun to Dwarka to check for the welfare of Krishna and what's going around in Dwarka. So he sends Arjun. So it is explained when Arjun goes to Dwarka, he does not see the same charm in Dwarka. So he goes there just to realize that Krishna has left this planet. There is a wonderful description of how the yadus were destroyed by a curse and Krishna also departed. That is not part of our discussion today. But when Arjun saw, he was so afflicted with pain that he could not bear. The shoulders which were standing upright all the time, the shoulders of a warrior, of a Kshatriya, lost its charm. And it is explained that Arjun did not return for a long time. And the Bhagavatam explains that Yudhishthira started seeing bad omens. He started seeing the crows and pigeons circling around him from the right side going to the left, in a clockwise direction. From the right going to the left and just circling around him. So when such things happen, even in your life, you can understand that there is some inauspicious news which you are going to hear. So Yudhishthira understands that. Then he sees certain animals behaving in certain way. He sees that untimely the birds are chirping. He sees the cow is no longer giving the milk to the calf. The calf is disturbed. And he sees that the entire environment is not positive. And he starts feeling that there is something wrong. Why? Because Arjuna has not returned since a long time. So Yudhishthira in deep pain, he comes out of the kingdom and sees towards the horizon. And there he sees a person with his shoulder down and head down, very sadly walking. He can see that that person appears to be very strong. But why is that such a strong person walking in such a poor way? So as he is looking carefully, he sees that that is none other than Arjun. So he has this feeling that there is something negative, and he immediately asks Arjun, Arjun, tell me what is there in Dwarka, give me the news. How are the queens of Dwarka? How are the sons of Krishna? How are the Yadus? How is Balram? And he keeps inquiring for so many people. And Arjun just does not speak. His head is low, his shoulders are low. And Arjun, with tears in his eyes, he speaks. Vanchitoham Maharaja Harina Bandhu Rupina. Said, O king, today I am vanchit. Vanchit means I am bereft. I am bereft of what? I am bereft of our dear friend, Lord Hari. Today, I have this inauspicious news that he does not exist on this planet anymore. That glory which the demigods used to see in me, it does not now exist. It seems as if it has been stolen. And Arjun breaks down. And Yudhishthira is remembering. Yudhishthira cannot tolerate the separation from Krishna. He starts remembering. Our only friend, our only master who was with us throughout our life. When there was an attempt to burn us in the house of wax, it was he who saved us. During the Rajpriya sacrifice, it was he who installed me. It was he who ordered Agni to burn the Khandav Prastha, the Khandav forest, so that we could make our kingdom. It was he who saved us from the embarrassment of Durvasa Muni when we were in the forest for 12 years. You must be knowing the pastime that Durvasa Muni came with his 60,000 disciples. And Pandavas had no food left. And they were scared that Durvasa will curse. We are already in a cursed situation. So Krishna comes at that time and there is only one tulsi leaf left. And he just eats that. And Durvasa and his 60,000 disciples, their hunger is satiated. Normally when you take deep in the Ganga, you feel more hungry. So they tell Pandavas that we are just having a deep end coming. And they are scared. Up to appetite बढ़ जाएगा. But Krishna with just one particle, he satisfies the hunger of everyone. So Yudhishthira and Arjuna are remembering that. So how Krishna saved us from that embarrassment. And he's remembering, Arjuna remembers how he fought Lord Shiva and got the weapons of Shiva. He got the favor of Indra and Agni all because of the presence of Krishna. And Arjuna and Yudhishthira start crying. Yudhishthira cannot bear more any longer. Mother Kunti is gone. Dhritarashtra is gone. Now Krishna is gone. It is just 36 years. Yudhishthira immediately decides that I cannot stay here any longer. Arjuna tells to Yudhishthira, my dear elder brother, please see. Tatvai Dhanush. This is the same Dhanush, the same bow which I am having. Tadvai Isha. This is the same quiver which has inexhaustible arrows. Sarato, the same rath on which I fought the great battle of Kurukshetra. Soham Rathi. And I am the person, the warrior on that rath. Everything is same. But what has happened? Sarvam Khamena Tat Abhud Asat Isha Riktam. That everything within a moment seems empty. In spite of the glorious chariot, in spite of the glorious person who is the Rathi. Sarathi is the charioteer and Rathi is the fighter on the chariot. Everything is the same, but it all remains empty. Why? Because our dear Lord is not here. It makes no sense. And Arjuna breaks down. Yudhishthira is crying. The whole palace is weeping in tears. Without the loss of a moment, Yudhishthira announces, I am leaving this kingdom and retiring to the place where the great sages go. And he decides to come to the Himavat mountains of the Himalayas. It is explained, Yudhishthira did not speak to any of his family members. He immediately took down his crown, his costly garments, and put on torn clothes. Shiravasa, Nira Aharo, Bhagavan Mukta Murdaja. He took on torn clothes with not eating anything. He left the kingdom. He opened his hair and he appeared like a madman. And he stopped talking to everyone as if a deaf man. He did not respond to anyone. And in such a state, he left the palace. Seeing Yudhishthira leave, please listen carefully. He decided, I want to follow my brother. So he followed. Seeing him, Arjun followed. Seeing him, Nakul followed. And seeing him, Sahadev followed. Draupadi saw that all my 5 husbands, they did not even speak to me before retiring. So she also felt that what is my point staying in this kingdom? I will also retire to the forest. And she also followed. And when those 5, along with Draupadi, the 6th person, when they left the forest, the kingdom, there was one dog who followed them. It is explained that Yudhishthira did not immediately move to the north. He came down from Hastinapur, which is Delhi, or Meerut. Meerut is actually Hastinapur. So from there they came down towards south, and from there they went to the western side, towards Dwarka. And there they saw the ocean, where Lord Krishna had constructed the kingdom of Dwarka. Seeing that, they remembered Lord Krishna, and then they started walking up. Meanwhile, on the way, they were crossing a river, and Agnidev suddenly appeared just before they crossed the river. And Agnidev told to Arjun, you are anyways retiring to the forest. Why do you need your Gandiv at this point of time? Arjun was carrying his Gandiv and his quiver, his bow. Arjuna's bow is called as Gandiv. So Agni said, this bow was given to you by Varun, and the quiver as well. So please hand it over to us before you go. And all the brothers, they agree to this proposition. They tell Arjun, please give it up. And Arjun offers that quiver of arrows to Agnidev and the bow to the water. And that made them even feel more that now everything is getting away. They have lost the kingdom, the final security in the mountains, that's also lost. Now this was around 5,000 years ago. From Dwarka they started walking up to the Himalayas. And it is explained they came to this area of Badrikashram. They took darshan of Lord Badrinath. You can imagine what an ordeal you have gone through by walking, by traveling in the buses. Imagine those days there were no roads. It was like this kind of road made by walking by people. Marathi mein bolte na kaivat. So they climbed for months together and they reached at this place. It is explained after taking darshan of Badrinath, they walked exactly on this path where you all walked. And they came to this spot and saw the river Saraswati. Exactly this spot. There is no error in this. And when they came here, these are 2 mountains you see. The river Saraswati. There was no pool or bridge. So Bhim, he lifted a huge rock and threw between that. So from where you took the pictures of Saraswati, that is known as Bhim pool. If you see from here, you can see that rock between the 2 mountains. From that spot you can see very clearly. It has no support below. It is just a huge rock thrown. Just like to cross a small stream, you put a small rock. Like Bhim put this huge rock. Therefore the place is known as Bhim pool. So from here they started walking. And they walked all the way here 5 kilometers from here there is a place called Vasundhara. 20 kilometers ahead of that there is a place called Satopant. So they walk 25 kilometers. Beyond 5 kilometers there is no walking trail. Then you have to simply walk on the mountain roads and then glaciers and all. And from the point of Satopant there is a extreme elevation which goes high up, which is known as Svargarohini, means the climb for the heavenly planets. How do you climb? It is not that these mountains touch the heaven, but basically you will leave your body. So when they came here, they did not come here to take darshan and go back and take pictures. Dekho, Saraswati river, take this, see Badrinath. No. They came here to give up their lives with that determination. Their entire life of struggle, and within 36 years they give up everything. And they were not old. So it is explained on the way, this very path which you walked was walked by the Pandavas. When they were walking little bit ahead of Vasundhara, suddenly Draupadi drops down. Bhim sees that Draupadi has stopped breathing and she is dead. He immediately asks Yudhishthira, why is it that this pious lady who has been so pious all this while, that she has died here when we left together? We have done everything in life together. Why is she not there till our final journey? So it is explained, Yudhishthira did not look behind. When he left the kingdom, he did not see Draupadi or any of his brothers. Even while walking, he was just walking straight. When Draupadi fell, he did not exhibit any emotions and he kept walking. Yudhishthira simply replied, that although Draupadi was married to 5 husbands, she was more partial towards Dhananjay or Arjun. Because of that impartiality, she is the first one to fall. And Yudhishthira simply kept walking. And Bhim is bewildered, he does not know what to do. But because Yudhishthira is Dharmaraj, he has full faith that whatever Yudhishthira is doing, you cannot have any doubt. So Yudhishthira keeps walking and Pandavas are simply following, bewildered. They walk further and Sahadev falls down. Bhim says, this pious person Sahadev, what sin has he done to discontinue his journey to meet up with our Lord? Yudhishthira says, Sahadev was very proud of his intelligence. He thought that there is nobody as intelligent as him on this planet. And that pride has made him fall today. Yudhishthira keeps walking. Bhim keeps walking. Behind him is Arjun. The next one to fall down was Nakul. Bhim asked again, what has Nakul done? Yudhishthira says that Nakul was a wonderful warrior, very intelligent, very skillful, and also very handsome. He had a feeling that he is very attractive and very handsome. That pride has made him fall today. Yudhishthira does not look behind. He keeps walking. The next one to fall was Arjun. When Arjun falls, Bhim is so afflicted in pain. He said, this Dhananjay, he was the one who was responsible for us to win the Kurukshetra war. He was the one blessed by all the Devtas. And even Krishna was his best friend. What could be the reason that Arjun said? So Yudhishthira, who is Dharmaraj, he replies. He says, just before the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjun had told, in a fit of anger and sentiment, that I will vanquish all our enemies in one day. But the battle lasted for 18 days. One should not speak things out of sentiment randomly. He is paying a price for that. Therefore Arjun has to be corrected, he says. Yudhishthira did not look behind. Bhim is so afflicted. Bhim keeps walking. And after a while, Bhim drops dead. He is feeling breathless. And he says, my dear brother, I don't see any few more moments of my life now. What is the reason? I have simply followed your order my entire life. What could be the reason that I have to discontinue the journey here? Without looking behind, Yudhishthira replies, my dear Bhim, your terrible need for eating, your insatiable hunger at times made you insensitive towards others who were also hungry. You would simply devour things. So, you have to leave at this street. And Yudhishthira keeps walking further ahead. He reaches the Swargarohini mountains, the 7 steps. It is explained that when you walk 25 kilometers from here, there is a lake called Tatopant. It is explained that every Ekadashi, Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh personally come and take bath and dip in this river. So we have been thinking since quite some time that only the youth will have a trekking for Tatopant sometime. Men can join. It is a 7-day trek to and fro, walking. So that lake where Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, they dip, every Ekadashi they come. And from there is a climb on the mountain. So when Yudhishthira climbs, suddenly Indra appears with his chariot and he welcomes Yudhishthira with grace. And he says, I am so fortunate to be here with you. To bring you along to the heavenly kingdom. You deserve it. So Yudhishthira replies, he says, this dog has been with me all this while. The dog did not die, he was still with Yudhishthira from Hastinapur. So he says, this dog has taken shelter of me, so he has to come along with me. Indra says, it is not possible, there is no space for these kind of dogs in heaven. And if I also attempt to bring the dog, there are other devatas who will take away all your merits because you are with a dog. So please leave the dog behind, and there is no cruelty in leaving the dog behind. There is nothing wrong you will do, because I know you are Dharmaraj, an expansion of Yamaraj himself. So you are very much concerned. So Yudhishthira says, I understand everything, but once somebody has taken shelter, I cannot deny that person. So if the dog is not coming, I don't want the heavens. Suddenly the dog takes form of Yamaraj. And the dog is so pleased. He is Dharma himself who accompanied Yudhishthira from there. And he says, I am so pleased with all your arguments which you gave, the reasons for their falling down. And also, to the one who has taken shelter, you have not rejected him. And therefore, I am pleased. Come, I will come along with you. So Yudhishthira says that if you are really pleased with me, I want to see that all my brothers back to life and coming with me in this chariot. So just see, although Yudhishthira did not look behind, look at his mature sentiment. So Dharmaraj said, you are worrying for Draupadi, Nakul, Sahadev, Bhima and Arjun? They are already waiting for you in heaven. Please come along. And Indra and Dharmaraj personally carry Yudhishthira. And it is explained when Yudhishthira reaches heaven, all the demigods, they fall at his feet. They feel that heaven is blessed because of such a person who has come here. And Yudhishthira is also happy, the environment is blissful. No longer the worldly sorrows are there. And there he sees on one throne, Duryodhana is being fanned nicely and eating, having great feast. Seeing that, Yudhishthira is bewildered. He says, how come this sinful person who has been responsible for the Kurukshetra war, for killing more than 1 billion people, and killing lakhs and lakhs of elephants and horses, and destroying the homes of millions of women, how can this person be in heaven? I reject this place. So Dharmaraj becomes bewildered. He pacifies Yudhishthira, please sit. Narad Muni appears. He says, Yudhishthira, in heaven there is no concept of enemy or friend. It's all good here. Whatever Duryodhana had done, he died in the battlefield as a warrior, so he deserves this place. Yudhishthira becomes pacified by Narad Muni's words. He's thinking, he says to Dharmaraj, if a person like Duryodhana, who has done so much crime his entire life, but he died on this Kurukshetra as a warrior, if he is getting heaven, how much more should Arjuna get? How much more should Kunti get? How much more should Nakul get? How much more should Sahadev get? How much more should Bhim get? How much more should my dear wife Draupadi get? Dharmaraj said, yes, they are in a very highly elevated state. I will take you along. So Dharmaraj takes Yudhishthira along further ahead. And suddenly they start walking on a place which was filled with lots of hair, nails, blood, pus. Yudhishthira sees that there are the limbs of men, thighs and hands chopped off here and there, lying scattered. The fat has come out of the body. The intestines and the brains are out. The heads are lying, the torso is lying somewhere. It is so rotten. There are insects and worms which are coming out of that rotten body. And those insects are biting him also. And he sees that there are crows and vultures with beak of steel. He sees that there are other people who appear like ghosts, who have mouths like needles, and they are all poking other living entities who are still alive. And they are all shouting, help, help, help. And Yudhishthira is bewildered. He says, where are they going? Suddenly Dharmaraj says, I cannot take you any further. I have to stop here. From here, if you want, you can come back with me, or you can search your brothers wherever they are. So Yudhishthira becomes bewildered. He does not understand. He feels slightly offended also. But he decides to go back. Suddenly, while he is returning, he hears sound. Please, Yudhishthira, don't go away. Please help us. And then there are 7, 8 sounds coming. Please help, please help. Please don't leave us. Just because your presence here, we are feeling relieved, we are feeling good. The air which has touched your body is cleansing us from our sins. Please don't leave. So Yudhishthira, he starts looking where these sounds are coming from. And he shouts, all these voices are familiar but I cannot understand. Please identify yourself. And suddenly from that pit of blood and mucus and stool and all dead bodies, the sound comes with a hand raised. Oh Yudhishthira, I am Karna. Another sound comes. Oh, I am Bhim. Another sound comes. I am Arjuna. I am Nakul. I am Sahadev. I am Draupadi. Yudhishthira is totally bewildered. They were supposed to get a higher position. What is this happening? And he looks at Dharmaraj. What is this? And suddenly Dharmaraj smiles and he says, just look once again. And Yudhishthira turns back and sees that all his 5 brothers, including Karna, they were in a good position. Arjuna, Nakul, they were all in a blissful condition, and all that entire environment which was so horrible changed into a very, very beautiful surrounding. So Yudhishthira said, I am unable to understand this. So Dharmaraj says, that Yudhishthira, you had committed one fault in your life, because of which, although they were in a blissful condition, we created an illusion which caused you pain. It was just an illusion, just like a dream. It is not a reality. but you felt your brothers are in painful condition. This was not so. So Yudhishthira is unable to remember what mistake he did. Dharmaraj reminds him that in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna had told you to speak a lie. And you hesitated for speaking that lie. You gave priority to your mundane morality than to the order of the Lord. And for that, you had to go through this pain of this illusion. So Yudhishthira is later happy they all meet. All the brothers meet. Eventually, they all go back to God. So Krishna Bhagavan ki. So it's a very wonderful pastime which comes in the Mahabharata, the departure of the Pandavas. So please stay here on this place that just as Pandavas made their final journey and they attained Lord, we have come here for pilgrimage. None of us have the courage to pray that let this be our final journey. But at least we can pray that let this be our final journey in this body. Pray to the Pandavas for the strength and mercy. Pray to Yudhishthira for the determination, the detachment through which relentlessly he walked on this very path which you traverse today. You are very fortunate. And take blessings of these mountains to empower us in our spiritual life to take the necessary steps. Swargaravini, our goal is not heaven, but take the necessary steps that we attain the blissful abode of our Supreme Lord. Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Krishna had told Arjun, Yudhishthira, basically Dronacharya had told that he will only stop fighting if his son is dead. And Dronacharya had a boon that nobody can kill him as long as he has weapons in his hand. So it was a compulsion that he has to give up weapons. But he would give up weapons only if Ashwatthama is dead. So Krishna tells, they discuss that let us lie to Dronacharya that Ashwatthama is dead. Then he will give up. Then they have a meeting. So Krishna says that if I tell that Ashwatthama is dead, Dronacharya will never believe. Because I have spoken so many lies since my childhood. And Arjun, you don't have the credibility either because you are my close friend. Being Nakul Sahadeva, there is no question. Only person who is above any doubt, even the enemies will trust blindly, is Yudhishthira. So they tell Yudhishthira, you speak the lie. So Yudhishthira says, how can I speak a lie? So Krishna orders Bhim to kill an elephant whose name was Ashwatthama. He said, kill this elephant. So Bhim kills Ashwatthama, the elephant. And then he says to Yudhishthira, okay, now Ashwatthama is dead. Just announce Ashwatthama is dead. You don't have to speak a lie. So Yudhishthira says Ashwatthama hato. But then he thinks that this is still a lie. So he says Narova Kunjaro. I don't know whether the man Ashwatthama or the elephant Ashwatthama. But when he speaks that, Krishna blows his conch shell very loudly. So all Dronacharya can hear is Ashwatthama hato. Narova Kunjaro is silent, like in English. So it is explained that Yudhishthira's Rath would be 2 feet above the ground. But when he spoke that, suddenly the Rath fell. So everybody in the battlefield realized, isne lafda kiya. He is now like us. So that was the lie. So Mahabharata immediately corrects. Speaking the truth is dharma. But Mahabharata immediately corrects. When the Lord says to say something, even if it is not true, that is dharma. Because the purpose of dharma is to please the Lord and serve the Lord. So if you do something which does not please the Lord, what is the point of that dharma? We give this example, suppose there are soldiers on the battlefield, this is a border. the chief of the army will say, shoot, and thousands of soldiers will start shooting. If the chief of army says, stop, and one soldier still keeps shooting, he will be court-martialed. Why? Because the order was to shoot. Now when the order is not to shoot, you shoot, it's a problem. And then after 2 minutes he says, okay, now shoot. And the person says, kya gadi? Shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot. एक बार बोल दो क्या? ऐसा नहीं चलता. अभी बोला shoot तो shoot. अभी बोला don't shoot तो don't shoot. Similarly, when Krishna says, shoot this is the dharma. So a beautiful statement of what dharma is. Mahabharata explains, dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad pranitam. Whatever the Lord utters and speaks, that is dharma. Simple. Neither truth is dharma, neither falsity is dharma. भगवत प्रणीतम, जो भी भगवान ने बोला वो धर्म, जो बोला वो करो. So now we will immediately walk down all the way, halfway, and there was a why we have to go upstairs and we will go to Ganesh Gufa. I will speak the passion here itself. Ganesh ji wrote the Mahabharata here, the Bhagavad Gita. Above that is a last Gufa. They are small gufas, please don't waste time. 3-4 people cannot go together. One at a time have to go, come and fast. Go inside and come back fast. It's slightly steep climb to Ganesh Gufa and Vyas Gufa. That is the precise place where Vyasdev has written the Srimad Bhagavatam. Vyasdev wrote the Mahabharata and many Puranas here. When Vyasdev was writing the Mahabharata, he required some assistance. Ganesh ji said, I will be your writer. So Vyasdev, that is a pastime, where Vyasdev said, I will speak to you, I will appoint you as my writer, only if you can write without stopping. So Ganesh ji says, I will write without stopping only if you speak without stopping. So you cannot take a breath. So both of them agree. So he keeps writing. Vyasdev starts narrating, keeps writing. It is explained that because of the sound of Saraswati, Ganesh was getting distracted on the instruction by the words of Vyasdev, whatever he was dictating. So Ganesh, he cursed Saraswati. That from here you cannot flow further ahead because you are causing so much sound. Therefore Saraswati immediately goes down at this point. So here there is a prayag called Keshav Prayag. You will see that Alaknanda is meeting Saraswati. So at that point, when you go further down where you saw people were taking bath. So there you will see the rivers coming, but you won't see two streams going further. You will see only one stream going. The other stream immediately goes down and appears at Allahabad Prayag, underground. So Lord has his routing system, which scientists cannot identify. So that's why Saraswati goes down here, because she is ordered by Ganesh. And both start writing. At one point of time, the feather with which Ganesh is writing, that ink is finished, the feather breaks. So Ganesh ji does not have a tooth to write. So he breaks one of his teeth. That is how he has Ekadant. That is one of the stories of how Ganesh ji has one tooth. He breaks his one teeth and takes it because he cannot stop. If he stops, Vyas will stop dictating and he will lose the opportunity to write the scripture. So Vyas has spoken the Mahabharata and the Gita, but it is Lord Ganesh who has written. And everything has happened in this cave. So you are visiting the cave where Bhagavad Gita was written and the cave where Bhagavad and other Puranas were written. Shri Ganesh Ji ki, Shri Vyas Bhagwan ki. So after that we will have a walk to those rocks. So there is a very good road like this. You just cross, then there is a road for Indian military vehicles. From there you will see the best darshan of Saraswati. And then you just cross that small mountain peak, you can see this much. It's only this much. It will take only 45 minutes. I am not lying. But from here it will take half an hour. So we just have 1.5 hour trek. But before we start the trek, it will be 1.5 hours. So please don't waste time and keep walking fast. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. You have to walk down. I'll be leading you so that you don't get confused.